Hello and welcome to the Drummergy Podcast, episode 150 on this fine October 28th of 2025. Got to turn my headphones up. Can you hear me, producer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was unbelievably loud in my ears.
I don't know why that is. It was so unbalanced.
Well, the music was what was loud. That
Right.
countdown thing.
Right. Yeah. Can you hear okay now?
Yeah.
Yay. We're a little late getting started. My coffee cup lid, the little slider part on top, just before I was going to walk out here, it broke. And the little plastic piece that broke was floating in the coffee, and I fished it out. I didn't want to drink a piece of plastic.
Where's the rest of the lid? Did you throw it out?
Nope, it's right here on my cup. Just the little slider part just broke from taking it apart and washing it, I think. Today's topic is going to be the art of entertainment, sticks, tricks, and flash. The producer knows all about what goes on with that, right?
Yeah, I've seen you do it a few times.
Yeah. And Chip Ritter is here.
Ooh.
Good morning, Chip.
Chip knows all about that.
Chip is the he is the master. He is the North Star of drum tricks, stick tricks, and juggling while he plays and stuff. And I think Chip more or less reserves that for when he's playing his drums solo with whatever band he's playing with. And there's James Harrison. Good morning, James. Yeah. So, but before we get into that, of course, there's the goofy holidays. This first one's not really goofy. It's National First Responders Day. It is also National Chocolate Day. It seems like every week is National Chocolate Day.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
And it's also National Animation Day.
It seems more like it's always National Something Drummer Day, National Kiss a Drummer Day, National Hug a Drummer Day, National something Drummer Day.
Something Drummer Day. Well, it is National Kiss a Drummer Day, so
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
James
and Chip know what I'm talking about. They're drummers, right? Yes. So a couple things as we speaking of Chip Ritter, Chip, if anybody's been paying attention, which hopefully you have been, Chip has been helping April Samuels with her drumathon that is happening on November 2nd. That is on is that Sunday?
No, the first is Sunday.
It is. I believe that is the date. And April Samuels is a drummer who's gone through breast cancer, and she has a amazing story attached with that. And I think Chip has been involved with that for over 10 years, helping fundraise money for cancer research. And they do this big drum thing where people come and play drums and play drum solos, and you can get up on stage and play with them, and all of that cool stuff is happening on November 2nd in Plano, Texas, which I believe is near Dallas. Now I might be wrong on that. Where is it? Do you remember? Man, I thought I was prepared.
Wow.
Chip can weigh in. But here's the cool thing about what Chip is doing with his fundraising on his end. If you go to chipritter.com, the producer could put that in the comments. There is, I'm popping. So here we go. Thank you, producer. Mary will put in the comments Chip's website, chipritter.com. And Plano is just north of Dallas. Thanks for the plug. You got it, Chip. chipritter.com. And Chip is doing these giveaways, and it only costs $20 to enter to be in the blue raffle. $20. That is nothing. And he's giving away a brand new snare drum by Trick Drums. It's a specially made drum for the drumathon for Chip to give away and help fight breast cancer. He also has Pisces cymbals donated an 18-inch crash. It's a purple cymbal. It's the 900 series crash. The thing is so pretty to look at. A full set of Aquarian drum heads and a package from Drumeo. I think it's a year subscription to Drumeo and some other stuff that they've put in. That's almost worth $1,000, just that. The drum dial, tuning dial with its case. And Chip's been giving away all sorts of cool stuff, drumsticks and the Trick snare drum, or excuse me, Trick Drums personal stage light, which I think I have right here. Let's see. Keep it handy. I've used it live a couple times. Boom. Chip gave a bunch of these away. Super cool. So go to chipritter.com. The drawing for those prizes is happening this Friday on Halloween. So that'll be a special episode of Drummers Education Connection on Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which if you're in Idaho, that'll be noon for us, right? I get confused on the time zones.
Where's he at?
Well, he's in the Pacific time zone.
Dude, that's...
So 11, 12 here.
Yeah, he's an hour behind us.
He's an hour behind us. So it's $20 is nothing, right? $20 isn't a lot of money these days, but it all adds up. You get 10 people to enter. It's pretty good odds, I think. Or it's not, what am I trying to say? I got to wake up. Coffee. Chip says, thank you so much. Oh, boy. Here we go. Mary says she hears every mouth noise that I make. Okay. Good? Are we good? All right. Here we go. Sorry for my sibilance.
Just don't do it. Just don't make noises.
April. I have her book right here. Breast Cancer Can Stick It. April Samuels. I started reading this book. She's got a pretty amazing story. Man, she's had a lot of challenges from birth to there's a story in there where she walked through a glass door when she was a kid and got all cut up, and man, she's had a lot of stuff go on in her life, but she's a great drummer. And when she came down with breast cancer, just being a big warrior for that and persevering through it. So make sure you check out Drumathon 2025. Go to chipritter.com. Donate your $20. Be entered to raffle to win these prizes on Friday. If you're confused, then just send me or Chip a message. We'll direct you, okay? We'll make it happen. But Mary's got chipritter.com in the comments there. First, I want to say a big thank you to Freddie Freeman for allowing us to finally go to bed at 1 o'clock this morning.
Oh my gosh. That was the craziest game.
It was.
What was it, bottom of the 18th?
Bottom of the 18th inning in the game 3 of the World Series that's happening right now.
Boy.
I came in from rehearsal last night, and I think they were in the 10th inning. Yeah.
Were they? I remember laughing to myself, and I should have said this out loud, but thinking, you're probably going to see, I don't know why I had this premonition, I guess, but I thought it would be funny if you saw more game than you didn't by the time you came in, and you were really close to seeing more game than you didn't.
Yes.
There's 2 games.
Well, we, you think, okay, well, they went into overtime, 5-5. They're in the 10th inning. It's like, oh, they're going to wrap this up pretty quick. No.
Hours later.
No. I don't know the exact time, but I think that game was around 6.5 hours long-ish.
Well, it started at 6, and you said it ended around 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
7.
It was That was a long game of watching pitchers strike people out.
I
But
remember the commentator saying something like, "Yeah, they scored. Like, he hit a home run or whatever, but that was 5 hours ago."
oh yeah,
And then the organist was cracking me up how he would he was getting really animated with the songs
yes,
he was playing, and he was really throwing down.
yeah.
Like,
I was
organist is getting
fighting.
tired.
We ditched watching the game in the living room because it was getting to be around 11, and that's pushing it for me on a Monday night, knowing that I got to get up early to do this show. And so we turned it on in the bedroom, thinking, "Oh, we'll just lay there and see the end and go night night." Well, it was like 12:55 at night, and Freddie Freeman hits a home run, the bottom of the 18th inning. Good morning, Jim Reidenbach.
I also had a feeling he would be the one that scored.
Well, his name's Freddie.
Well,
I mean,
well,
you can't go.
last
You
year he
cannot
had
go wrong. You
yeah, but
can't go
last
wrong.
year he had the grand slam walk off, so that was.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
James says, even if you're not a baseball fan, it's a great matchup. Yeah, it definitely is.
It was.
I think if anybody's been watching the show, they know that I'm not a sports guy. Like I enjoy watching football, I enjoy watching baseball. I'm not much into watching golf, but I don't mind. It's the hang, when you're watching games with your family and whatever, and you got some snacks, and you can doze in and out if you take a little nappy tappy on the couch. But yeah, that was like, when is it going to stop? Thank you, Freddie Freeman, for giving us some sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with James. Even if you're not a baseball fan, if you just, who doesn't like a good game, right?
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a great game. That was so fun. I had these buttons out last week when Alfred Deverona was on the show, and I didn't get to talk about them, so I wanted to do that today. And producer, could you do me a quick little favor? On that music stand over there with my sweatshirt on it is my kids' drum roll challenge track sheet. If you wouldn't mind handing that to me. Yep, it is right under there. It is. Yep. I do. I have the buttons. Thank you. Yep. All right, we're moments away from getting into the art of entertainment, but I wanted to share with you. I have quite a few students who are 10 years old or younger. So this drum roll challenge came into play. Oh, well, I'll show that here in a second. I feel like teaching a drum roll and learning a drum roll are one of the harder components of drumming. And now that's just my experience, okay? I remember trying to learn a drum roll myself and trying to understand what was actually happening and differentiating between having the stick bounce versus doing 2 hits. So over the time, I've started to figure out like a good method on teaching how to play a drum roll. The other challenge with teaching kids is their attention span. And so sometimes it's harder to get kids to play anything for longer than like 10 seconds of something. They might learn a drum beat and they'll play 2 bars of it and they're like, "Yay, I got it." And I'm like, "I want you to play that longer, like for 3 minutes." And they're like, "No, I'm good." And they're ready for the next thing, right? So it's always this navigating of what you're doing with kids when you're teaching them. And I think I had one student who was talking about needing to play the national anthem at school, and they were like in 5th grade or something. And the teacher heard that they were taking drums. Well, they didn't really know how to play a drum roll. So I think they just played singles really fast on the drum. And I thought, okay, we better get these kids learning how to play a drum roll. So I got them all started and got them to where they could do a pretty decent drum roll. And the goal was for them to each play it for 2 minutes. So this started in March, I think, of this year, where I just got them all kind of going at the same time. playing a drum roll for 2 minutes, and their drum roll getting better and better as they went along. Well, till one day, one of my students, Henry, who is 8, I think he was actually 7. I think he just turned 8. He said, "Mr. Fred, has anybody played this longer for 2 minutes?" And I said, "No, they haven't." He said, I'm gonna do it for 3 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I have my timer going. I'll show you on my phone here. I get this so that they can see it. So I set this in front of them. We hit go, and they watch that, and they drum roll for 2 minutes. So he did it for 3, and that was like a little victory. And he was so excited that he did it for 3 minutes. Well, some of these students know each other because they're passing each other as they come and go out of here. And as they were leaving, he said, "I did a drum roll for 3 minutes." Well, then that next student said, "Well, I could do that." So they all started going for 3 minutes. And then Henry came along again the next week and said, "Well, I'm going to do it for 5. I'm like, okay, you can play a drum roll for 5 minutes. Well, as these students kept going along, they said, well, I'm going to go for 6. So I started keeping track. And I made this paper. It says the Kids Drum Roll Challenge. And I've got their names there. I think, well, focus issues. I think there's 9 on the list. There's another 5 or 6, but they're not as far along as these kids in the process. So I put it out so they could each see their names and they could see their progress of how long everybody was going. So you could see as the numbers went up. Went up here. And there's some 30-minute drum rolls on there that you're not mistaken. So as they started going along, I'll mention Chip Ritter again. Chip sent me this bag of Peisty symbol buttons, and it just has the Peisty logo on it. And some of them were small. So everybody that did 5 minutes drum roll got the smaller Peisty button, and they were really excited about that. And then as they got to playing a drum roll for 10 minutes, I gave them the larger Peisty button. Well, as they kept leveling up, I'm like, I got to figure out some other prizes. And Mary has the ability to make buttons here. And so without getting extremely long-winded on this.
You already are.
I already are.
Wow.
I already are.
You can tell we're tired, right?
Yeah. But we can thank Freddie Freeman again for letting us have some sleep. So I told one of my students, Jet, I said, go for it. And he's like, gopher, like the animal gopher. So Mary made a go for it drum roll challenge button, 15 minutes. So there's a gopher playing drums. It's a cartoon deal. So every drum student that's played a drum roll for 15 minutes has now received their go for it drum roll challenge 15-minute button. Well, that wasn't enough, right? They had to keep going. So somebody went for 18 minutes, somebody went for 20, somebody went for 22. And when that person went for 22, which was Jet, who came up with the gopher thing, Charlie said, I can do it for 30. So good morning, David. So Charlie played a drum roll for 30 minutes. So Mary made the 30-minute drum roll challenge button, which is pretty cool. So when Jet saw that Charlie had played for 30 minutes at his next lesson, he said, I want to go for 30, but we had already been doing his lesson for about 6 minutes. And I said, we don't have time. And he was in tears that I wasn't going to let him play for 30 minutes that week. So we made a plan that the following week he would immediately walk in and start playing a drum roll. So the Kids Drum Roll Challenge has expanded because some of my high school students who saw that drum roll challenge asked what it was about. And one of them is the drumline section leader at his school. And he was coming up with some kind of plan to motivate the drumline at his school because of the Kids Drum Roll Challenge. And then I've had some other teacher friends of mine who thought that was a good idea too. So, we're inspiring kids, getting them to do something that's a little bit competitive. And the two things that are happening, one is that they're being motivated, they're playing drums longer, and their drum rolls are getting a lot better. So it's pretty cool.
Well, they're also focusing on something for longer than 15 seconds.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I just never intended for that to happen. It just kind of grew on its own. It's been pretty fun. Okay, let's get to what we're all waiting for, the art of entertainment. And I had a pair of sticks. Here they are. Now, I could preface everything that I'm going to say at the moment, but somebody's going to come in later and start watching mid conversation, and they're going to bring up these same things again. So we'll cover it again. Performing and playing in front of an audience, we all have our own ideas of what that might mean to them and what that might look like, and whether or not it's important to put on a show, which I feel it's really important to put on a show. And I spin drumsticks through my fingers, and you can't see because I get out of frame. I make big arm movements when I play, and sometimes it looks like I'm just murdering drums when I'm playing. Well, where did that start? Why did that start? Why do I continue to do it? Those kind of things. And producer, you can input anything you want as you go, because you've been along for this ride for over 30 years now.
Okay.
James says there was a person that put on sew on badges were for completing the Charles Wilcoxon book. Yeah, I heard that Jeremy Steinkohler might have been doing that very thing that Bart Robley had told me about. Yeah, it's going back to that just for a moment. Like, Mary's been brainstorming like what we can do, because I have a certain method that I use, an order of things that I teach, and it started kind of going back with the kids taking colored markers and putting a star next to something that they played really well, or that they played so many times. Like, each star represented that they played that drum beat 10 times. And so if they had 5 stars, it meant that they played it 50 times and things like that. Something that they could just open their book and go, oh, I've done this and I did it really well, or whatever. So, yeah. So on patches, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a great idea. It's a great motivator. And I think kids seeing that where they are in the process makes a big difference for sure. Okay, going back to stick spins and tricks.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the MTV era.
So what?
The MTV.
What's that?
Well, MTV used to be a television show on cable where music was put to video, right? I think the very first one was The Video Killed the Radio Star, and that came out in what year, producer?
August 1st, 1981.
Wow. You knew that info just like that.
Yes, because I say it every time we play it.
Okay. Do you really?
Yeah.
So since Mary is in an 80s pop synth tribute band, Casio Dreams, they play The Video Killed the Radio Star song. Yep. What was the name of that band?
The Buggles? Is that how you say it? Buggles?
I don't know. You're the one that plays it every time.
Yeah, I think it's Buggles.
So in the world of MTV, we got to see bands up close and personal. And I always really liked videos of bands that were playing live. I always liked the live shot, and seeing a big stage and this big lighting rig and the sound system and an arena full of people going nuts over your music and playing, and long hair, right?
Long hair.
Stage clothes.
The
yes,
costume.
James says the Buggles. Yeah.
Buggles, yeah.
I just loved all of that. I loved watching Tommy Lee just had this power in his playing, and he still does. Like, that guy, when he plays the drums, like, there's everything is on purpose, right?
Yeah.
And he has these big moves, and he's got stick tricks and spins and all of that stuff going on. And so that had a huge influence on me to see that. And so I learned I would lay in bed at night and I would learn how to do that. And I would try to do it with both hands, right? And I would work on that over and over and over and over.
So like the kid that lays in bed tossing the baseball up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're throwing or spinning sticks.
Yep. I would had a hard time because it would just wobble back and forth and it eventually looked like it's spinning in a circle. And so once I sort of had that worked out, then I would play my drums and I would try to get a spin in there in between the beats. And I had a big mirror on my dresser and I was set up across from that. So I could actually watch myself play. And Mary would probably tell you, I still enjoy looking at myself.
Oh my gosh.
So it was the big mirror. It was my dresser was probably like 5 feet long, and this mirror took up the whole width of that, and it was pretty tall. So, and I had this big double bass drum kit, and so I was just sitting across from that, and I could clearly see my whole drum kit and me playing in the mirror. So I knew what it looked like as I did it. Hey, Gary. So I know we had a jazz band performance at school in the gym, and I think it was part of a pep rally or something to probably get the student body excited about the football team or what have you. But at any rate, the band was playing, and I was playing the drum set, and the song was more of a rock song than a jazz song. And I decided to take the risk of spinning my sticks during this song.
Oh.
So right? So I'm playing and I go to spin my stick and the whole student body in the gym just lost their minds over it. They were cheering so much and just like going crazy that I did it again and the same reaction happened. So I did that like 3 or 4 times during the song, and every time I did that, the crowd would just erupt with applause and cheering and all of that.
It's funny how people can get so excited over something that seems really simple.
Right? Yeah. James says you should look up Dino Danelli, the Rascals, on Ed Sullivan. Quite the showman. Write that down, producer. We got to
write it down. James wrote it down.
I know, but those comments no, it's on Facebook, so it'll be there. I know the comments on YouTube disappear after the
as soon as it's over,
yeah. Right.
Well, it's funny that so just to like add on to that, Christian and Drew did that duet.
Yeah, so I have that written down here.
Christian and did you want me to talk about it?
You can go ahead. But
our son Christian and his friend Drew that have done drumline together forever.
Yeah.
They both work at Das Alpenhaus together, and one of the managers was getting married, and so they had this wedding like little ceremony and reception thing down at Papa Joe's on Capitol, and so they asked them to play a snare duet.
Yeah.
And so they wrote this snare duet, very, very complicated, and practiced, and they have a couple little showy things in it.
Yeah.
And you know, to them they're like not a big deal.
Right.
But they did it, and their little audience
lost their minds over it.
Yeah. They just like they reached over, and there were a couple of things where they tap their sticks, you know, a certain way and flip them around, but then they do this one thing where they tap each other's sticks. They look at each other and tap the sticks and go back, and they loved that. It was so cool. It was just that one little showy thing that just made them lose their minds.
Well, I told Christian, like, they wrote this really complicated snare duet together, and James on here is probably the one that could relate to this the closest, but just all these incredibly complicated, dense measures of stuff to play and splits between them and all of that stuff. And it sounds amazing, right? Like, as drummers, you're going to recognize, okay, that's pretty complicated, but they have this one moment they're playing and they go chick, 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 boop, boop, and they kind of like hit off of each other, and you just hear this like this little moment, right? Because they're hitting the rims and hitting their sticks together. And that's the thing that those in attendance saw and heard, that they just started cheering like crazy for. And good morning, Brian. And I told Christian, I said, see, people are into watching what's happening and what you do, and he's so stoic too when he plays.
Yeah.
He's like has no expression on his face.
They're so focused on what they're doing.
Yeah, which is a little bit different than how Dad plays.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really fun to see the reaction, because I had that similar experience when I was in high school and spinning my sticks. So once that happened to me, and I was like, this compliments happen off and on throughout the rest of the week, where people were like, Fred, and they were like moving their fingers like this, like they were spinning a stick, right? So I kind of got addicted to that attention.
I guess so.
I did. I mean, I just want to be completely transparent on that.
Yeah.
So I started doing that more and more from like a show off perspective. And if I go back and watch the video of young Fred, there's it's going on a lot, and probably not in the best moments necessarily, right?
Well, you're still figuring it out.
Yeah. And learning how, and then getting to where I could just throw the stick in the air and keep playing and catch it and keep going. And that whole learning process involved a lot of drop sticks and chasing drumsticks out from underneath your bass drum. And because whenever a stick hits the floor, it grows legs and it tries to tuck itself under the most inconvenient place to grab a new stick, right?
Sure.
So that's why you got your stick bag.
Yeah.
Some people have a stick bag because they break sticks. I have a stick bag because I drop sticks. So that's why that's there. But so we're talking about 80s through the, late 80s into the 90s. James says it's like the famous tap dancers doing incredibly difficult dancing, that when they put their hands on the knees and do the old wobble trick, everybody cheers and claps. Yeah. Because they have this like visual of that thing happening, right, where their knees are going back and forth. And you know what James is talking about, right, Mare? Right, producer?
Their knees are going back and forth.
Yeah, when they kind of
yeah.
They put
Okay,
their hands on their knees, and they it looks like they're
I know what you're talking about.
switching
Like,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember doing that as a kid.
So I had MTV where I'm watching this stuff, and these drummers are doing like Tommy Lee, any of the hair bands from the 80s, Poison. They just had this like larger than life approach, and everything was big and huge. And I loved that. And so I emulated that, and I just kept going. But as the 90s came along and the grunge movement happened, they're not wearing leather pants anymore. The hair's not all teased and big. It's more natural looking. Being in Seattle, I think part of what they just wore in Seattle was to keep warm. The flannel shirts and Doc Martens and the wool socks. And
well, they spent all their money on their guitar and drums, and so they got nothing left.
But I still like early Blas Elias from Slaughter was a great stick spinner. Yeah, he definitely is. And he's still doing that, playing with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I believe he's playing with Stephen Pearcy, like that version of Rat. Yeah. And Blas is awesome. Midline opened up for Slaughter, I think.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah, maybe once or so. I can't remember.
At least once.
Yeah. And Blas was such a cool guy. And I remember him watching me play, and then I'm watching him play, and I mean, obviously I ripped off some of his moves because he had two Chinas that were up high like this, right? So he'd go and he'd reach and hit that one, and then like a kind of an X pattern. And so I would do the same thing. And it was really cool. So I think like through the grunge movement, some of that was a little frowned upon, but I continued to still play really big and throw my sticks around and spin sticks and that. But as I kept doing it, it became more of a focused thing, and it became, some of the stuff just kind of became part of the beat on like how I played, right?
Sure.
And I'll play like that, even just recording songs. Like nobody's seeing it.
Uh-huh.
But there's certain things to like the groove of what you're playing.
So I'm just thinking about what James is saying about the tap dancers, and I'm thinking about like the Rockettes, and they can be doing all this fancy dancing, and then when they get in the line, and they start the kicks, that's when everybody loses their minds, and that's probably not nearly as hard as the other stuff they were doing. Same with the drum corps. They do all this incredibly difficult stuff, but then when they get in the single line going across and walk slowly forward, everybody loses their minds.
Yeah, it could just be a crescendo roll, right?
Yeah, it's just it's just the effect. It's if you were closing your eyes and you heard them playing what they're doing in the line, you probably wouldn't have the same effect as when you see it.
Right.
And so there's this whole visual aspect that comes with performing that people connect with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's, sorry, I'm going to say it again. I know there's people that like to use their iPads, but
right.
You're creating a wall between you and your audience. And if that was just gone, then
yeah.
That's just one barrier that you don't have to deal with. I don't know. It's just really freeing.
Right. Not to be tied to staring at an iPad.
I mean, I've done both. I know I can't, I've done both. So I'm not, I guess I used to use an iPad, but in church, it was music on a charts on a music stand or an iPad if you had one.
Right.
And that's really just because we're playing songs every week and nobody had any interest really in memorizing them. And
I did.
They were different. I know you did.
Yeah.
And when we played with Jim at his church, we had to have it memorized.
Right.
But
yeah.
It's just there's something about not having to look at something and be tied to it that's really freeing. And then that allows you to perform. It allows you to connect with your audience and do whatever.
Yeah.
Whether it's dance around, or interact with your bandmates. Like when an audience is there to see you play and you're just kind of standing at a microphone and looking at an iPad like you're doing karaoke, there's just nothing interesting about that. Like,
yeah,
it really takes away from the experience for the audience. And you can tell when you go and watch people play, the audience reacts better to the groups that are not hiding behind music stands and iPads.
Yeah. Maddie Vanderboot's here. One of my favorite people. And Hyatt, let's see what Hyatt has to say. Let's put Hyatt's comment up here. Hyatt said, "You said something to me years ago that stuck with me. As a performer, every part of every song has to be your favorite part."
Yeah, that's nice.
I thought that was great advice. Wow, man. Thank you. Yeah. If every part of the song isn't important, why would you play it? It's useless to have it there if it's not important, right? Now Matt's watching. I think in the world of music that Matt lives in, he's like, there's a lot of useless music that's out there. Cut that. Keep it on track, people.
Kill the darlings.
Yeah.
That's in music composition, though.
Yes. Thomas, good morning to you too. Yeah. I think I tell this to my students, like, I want to believe in what you're playing. And so that doesn't necessarily include having to throw your sticks in the air or spin, but there's a certain attitude towards what you play that makes a difference in how it sounds. So just like, for example,
even something as simple as a smile on your face while you're doing it.
I love smiling. Smiling's my favorite. I'm just like Buddy the Elf, right? I think smiling is good. Smiling is a good thing. So when I was 20, I think I was 20, pretty sure I was 20, I toured with a band from Florida, and we worked for a company called Worldwide Showcase. And we went through like some intense training while I was in Tampa Bay, Florida. And basically you did what they said or you went home. And part of what they said to do was to have this larger than life presentation to how you played your instrument, not just drums, but whatever instrument you were playing, or if you were singing, and making movements that made sense. Like you weren't just running around the stage for the sake of running around, because if you ran around the stage, that created energy. It just creates chaos, really. It's like you have there's a purpose you're running across the stage, because you're going to go interact with this part of the audience until the next thing comes along. And then you're going to go back over to this side of the stage and interact with the audience. And maybe there's some kind of movement, not choreography necessarily, but a way that you can make the impact of the song bigger through the visual of it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, for a drummer to have this big window so people could see you, that means getting the toms low and the cymbals high, like nothing that was going to obstruct the audience's view of the drummer, because we're at the back of the stage. Yeah. Sometimes we're on the floor. That's why having a riser could be really beneficial to being up. I know that Hyatt has a riser that he uses with his band. And I don't think it's super tall, but man, just that few inches makes a big difference in that elevation, and it makes it easier to see what Hyatt's doing. Mm-hmm. Now that I don't know how much work that is for him to haul around, because I believe it also spins in a circle. It's like he's the only one that I know personally that does that. And I think his drum kit's kind of set up to look like a motorcycle, if I'm right.
Yeah, you got to post a picture.
He says, we spin in circles. It's the crazy Susan.
The crazy Susan.
Yeah. But just that, see, he's adding to the value of what the band is doing live.
See, I haven't even seen it, and I want to see it.
Right?
Yeah. Can you post a picture? I don't know if it'll let you post a picture.
I don't know if you can post a picture in the comments.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's really cool, and good for Hyatt for doing that. James says, let's put James's comment up. Mm-hmm. Long before MTV, when non-drummers saw Rush live, they all talked about Neil Peart's drum solo and tossing and catching his sticks. Yeah, well, Neil was a huge attraction for that band, not like just how incredibly cool his drum compositions were, but yeah, his drum solo and tossing a stick. If you saw Neil spin a stick or toss a stick, that was a big deal, right? Yeah. But you start hearing about those things. It's pretty cool.
So, I saw them the one time when they were here, but I don't remember him doing anything like that. Did he do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
he did.
Remember.
I was watching every
single
move that guy made. I was glued to that guy.
I was probably watching Geddy Lee.
Well, there's a lot to see only between three people, right? There's a lot going on. But just like, I've talked so much about like what you wear on stage. I think it's important to look like you're in the band. But I have like some bullet points here. Like, do you smile when you play? Like just that simple smile lets the audience know that you enjoy doing what you're doing, because there's other drummers I see that they're playing and they don't have to be spinning sticks or anything, but they're just like, they look like they're waiting for the bus. The bus is late. Like, they're just, they look like they're so incredibly bored. Like, why are you there? Like, you're signaling to the audience that I'm not into this. So if you smiled, that would send a different message, don't you think? The art of entertainment. Well, can you just smile when you play?
Yes. Some people don't smile, and that's their vibe. Like, you don't really see Slash smiling.
Okay, but what do you know about Slash? You brought Slash up. Let's talk about Slash specifically.
What do I know about him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has a vibe. Aside from being like one of the best guitarists out there, he's got that look. His face is mostly covered with his hair and his hat.
Right.
But he's definitely, I mean, I don't look at him and think he's not entertaining. It's the way he holds his, you know, his position on stage, the way he just has like this presence.
He does have a presence, right?
That commands your attention, I guess. That he's not, you know, and then some guys that, you know, they run around, I think about Def Leppard, like in the Hysteria, when I'm just like thinking about the videos from their concerts in my head. Like,
yeah,
you know, they're running all around the stage. We don't really have that luxury here. Like, what's the biggest stage in town?
You're talking about local bands playing?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm just trying to think of the biggest physical stage I've played on is probably Indian Creek Plaza.
You talked about Slash, like he doesn't really smile.
Yeah.
But Slash is a character, right?
Sure.
Like if you never heard Guns N' Roses and you never heard his guitar, but you saw a picture of him, would that visual of him imprint itself on your brain?
Well, I would look at him and see he's probably in a band.
Okay, just because he's dressed that way, right? He's got long hair. He's got the the black top hat thing on. He has a lot of mystique because his face is really hidden because of the hat and the hair, right?
Yeah.
He's a more or less in shape looking guy. He's got whatever clothes he's wearing, right? But he has this presence. Yeah. He has a vibe to what he's doing. So if you see a drummer that's just like,
okay,
do they have a vibe that backs that up?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm like following you here with the smile. So, like, because not everybody smiles when they're playing. Like in Christian's case, he's concentrating. He's really focused on what he's doing, and you're not going to see him smile. But like, I guess when I look at myself in videos, if I'm not smiling, I look like I'm mad. I've got RBF, and so I have to force myself to
I
smile.
so badly want to say something off there.
Did I say it right? RBF, yeah. I don't want to say that I'm not having fun, because I'm absolutely having fun. But like, if I am not focusing on like smiling, that to make my face match how I'm actually feeling inside, then I don't look like I'm having fun. I look like I'm mad, and I don't want to. I have to actively make sure that I'm smiling. You know.
Thomas says it's the aura.
Yeah, he has aura. Yeah.
And then James says Slash created a look that's now attributed to him. You never see his face. Brian Hoyt. What's this have to do with jet propulsion theory, Fred? That was Brian's suggestion on topics I should talk about on the Drummergy podcast, was jet propulsion theory.
Just put on a show. This ain't rocket science.
Right?
Just smile. It ain't rocket science.
I'm going to have to do some jet propulsion theory research, and then who knows, I might you could knock Brian over with the feather with my knowledge of jet propulsion theory.
All right.
Challenge accepted. All right, so if you're smiling, but then maybe you're more stoic looking, which I think Neil Peart kind of had that look on his face of concentration.
Yeah.
And then I like to sing along with the band, and thankfully there's no microphone that you actually hear what's happening. So, but I like to sing along, or there's some pictures out there with me where I look like I'm yelling or screaming, like because I'm really into that moment. Thomas says that would entertain people. Yeah, jet propulsion theory.
No, he said, Fred, you should put a cardboard box on your head and you could be known as Boxhead Fred.
Oh, where's that? Oh, there it is.
Hey, somebody already kind of did that. That's Dead Mouse.
Well, there's also there's Buckethead, who's a guitar player who has the KFC bucket on his head.
Oh, geez.
And then his face is painted white, I believe. He was in Guns N' Roses for a while.
Did he do that?
Buckethead. He did. Yep.
In Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It was in the version of Guns N' Roses where I think Axl was probably the only original member of the band.
He was the Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
he replaced the Axl.
Band and Roses.
Band and Roses. Yeah. So there's some drummers who play where their mouth's just agape. So they're playing, right?
Agape.
So where they're kind of like, or they're just doing this thing, like
catching flies,
right? They got the fly. They got the music fly trap.
Oh my gosh!
Like, I want to take pennies and see if I can make it. Like, damn.
They keep their mouth open so they could put their. Oh, never mind. I better not say that.
Okay, James is bringing up a good topic, and I was going to get to that too. This is a good one.
Yes,
I've known drummers that were told
important.
not to do anything that takes attention away from the main performer, not bands, but artists with backup musicians. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's about where attention is supposed to be given, right?
Right.
So I've talked a lot about like lyrics have become really important to me. Like, obviously, if you're playing some ballad song or something with more sensitive material, I guess you could say, whatever that is, you don't want to be going back there just going crazy, right? I think you want to reflect through the playing and through the performance of what the song is portraying. So if it's a big, fun, happy song, I think you could be back there smiling and playing. But yes, if you're a band that's backing up a singer, then you got to get the music right. Like it's the music's number one. I want to make that clear.
Well, you don't go to like Carrie Underwood or Taylor Swift concerts or and like wow, that drummer. They're usually a lot of times the bands kind of
disappear into
they're almost part of the staging.
Yeah.
And so you don't really see them. So it's geared to be the entertainment is the artist and maybe backup dancers or backup singers.
Yeah, definitely. But if you saw Taylor Swift's drummer or Carrie Underwood's drummer, they're probably not playing like this.
They don't have their mouth open.
Or they're going, right? They could be tied into just what they're doing, and I'm sure that there's some kind of direction given. Of course, maybe at that level, it's a given that you would know how to present yourself on stage, right? Or
Sure.
Or you wouldn't end up in that position to begin with. There's an etiquette to that.
Yeah,
there's definitely an etiquette. Well, I would speak more to midline because that's the lane I've been in for so long, is that everybody on the stage has a thing, right? So it's like 4 really strong personalities, but it's also a cohesive thing that's happening at the same time. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like a Motley Crue.
Okay.
Right. Now in the I don't know if it was late 90s or I think it was just that bridge right there between the late 90s and early 2000s. My hair was all braided, was shaved on the sides. I had beads in the end. Anything to tame down the huge shrubbery of hair that I had to bring it down into braids. And I would be really animated when I'd play. And I started having people compare me to Morgan Rose from Seven Dust. I had heard of Seven Dust. I had never seen Seven Dust. I didn't know what Morgan Rose looked like. I didn't know who he was. None of that kind of stuff. But then when I saw a video of Seven Dust playing and Morgan Rose had his hair all braided and making big movements like that, I'm like, I could see why people would compare us because of how we play drums and how we perform. And so it wasn't long after that I had short hair.
Uh-huh.
Now, because of Morgan Rose, that's not the only reason I cut my hair. My hair had just gotten so damaged from years of trying different things, dyeing it, and braiding it, and it was a mess. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, it was a good thing that I cut my hair. And then to later on meet Morgan Rose, to meet Shannon Larkin from Godsmack. Also during that time, I wasn't on a friendship level with Morgan, like I had his phone number or anything, but there were times where Midline and Seven Dust crossed paths many times. And I remember bringing this up to Morgan Rose, that very story of being compared to him, and that my hair used to be like that. And I think it showed him a picture, and he's like, whoa. And he said, well, he had been accused of ripping off Shannon Larkin for years. And Will Hunt was like in that whole mix of drummers that all kind of played the same. And Morgan goes, look, man, we're all in the same boat. We're all doing our thing. It's not a big deal. He's like, just keep doing your thing, man. And I was like, okay. So Morgan's like, man, just do your thing. It doesn't matter if people start comparing you or not.
Thomas Schuster has a good comment here.
Let's see.
The music feels your energy as much as the crowd does. If you play like a stiff board, you can hear it in the music, and you can hear what you see sometimes. The music can feel your drummergy.
Ah, yeah. I like that.
And then Jeff says, I was hired a few times for my looks and my ability to perform the machine gun sticks. Yep.
There you go. There you go, Jeff. Yeah. I think that's all important. What I started to see Thomas says they look like they just went to the dentist.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not even showing off their teeth. They're not going. They're going.
Gosh.
Oh, so yeah, don't have your mouth all hanging open.
All right, what else do you have on that list?
Let's see. Trying to keep me on track, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Talked about that. Oh, I had mentioned I went and played with Showcase, and you did what you said, or you went home.
Yeah.
So we had a couple people from Disney that helped us with stage presence. So we got this instruction, and then
from Disney.
Yeah. This, like, I know that sounds funny to say, right?
Yeah.
But look at the success of what Disney does.
Yeah, but I'm picturing you guys all dressed up in
no
costumes now.
It's
Were you Aladdin?
No. I'm gonna smack you around. If anybody sees Mary with a black eye, you'll know why.
Whoa!
Because she ran into my fist.
If anybody sees Fred limping, you'll know why.
And round we go. No, with Disney, it was like basically training us that we as performers are in charge of this. We're in charge of the stage. We're in charge of the situation. And we're going to entertain these people that are paying money to come see you, right? And to get out of your comfort zone, to take some risks, which in the end weren't really risks, but it was like, if you demanded applause from the audience, that might sound weird to say you demand applause, but when you would finish a song and you'd hold your hands out like this, what's your response going to be? Oh, we're going to clap now, right? But if you end a song, and then you immediately go, that's not staying in command of the situation or the stage, right? You're just like, oh, we're done. Now we're going to twiddle our thumbs for the next 30 seconds and discuss on stage what next song we're going to play. That momentum just is killed right there. You want to keep that momentum. So anyway, we had people from Disney help us in how to present ourselves on stage. So that was a big deal. And the first manager that I had playing with that band was Mike Jones, and he managed Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith. And those were two pretty hugely successful Christian artists. And so when you're getting information from somebody like that, who has that kind of success, you kind of go, oh, I see what you mean. And you do those things. And it was just like when Midline had worked with Bill Aucoin, who managed Kiss for a couple years. That really helped us elevate our game on how to perform and bring a great show to the audience. James always has the great stuff. I do think that MTV did put a focus on the entertainment factor of playing live by the entire band. I remember seeing Cinderella live opening for David Lee Roth. Fred Corey was very animated with his drumming. Yeah, definitely. I loved Cinderella. I thought their songs were, they had that flashy look, that LA Hollywood strip kind of look to them, but their music had more balls to it, I guess you could say.
Wow.
Because it had that bluesy rock to it, which I think added to me like weight to the music. And Fred Corey was great to watch. And that's why, like, when I just saw the Tom Kiefer band, was that earlier this summer that we saw that?
It was just like in September, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago at the Morrison Center. And so Tom Kiefer sounded great. His band was killer. They were so good. But the drummer, who was amazing, I could not cut up this guy who's playing whatsoever. His playing was amazing, but he's playing traditional grip. And he's back there just like, there's no, I wanted this. I wanted that big rock show. The drummer of that band was the only one that didn't have that. You close your eyes and it sounded great, but to look at it, it's almost like seeing that I'm playing the drum.
But maybe, I don't know. The guitar players all had a presence. A
they
great
sure
presence
did.
about them.
So yeah,
I don't know. Maybe he just felt like he needed to be the drummer in the background, and I don't know. Maybe he was told that. Maybe when he tries to do the cool stuff, they're like, "Yeah, don't do that. You look dumb." I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, he's definitely. I don't know who he is. I didn't research to see what his name is or anything. Incredibly great drummer, really, really powerful. But just from that visual perspective of it, that was the one little thing I was like, And then you start picturing yourself in that position. Like, if I was doing it, I would do this.
Well, there's always been
the musician standing there going.
I'm looking back at James's comment about MTV putting focus on entertainment.
Yeah.
Factor. Like I just think about living here, especially. We didn't have a lot of big, huge acts that came through. There would be like, Def Leppard and those guys, on the metal side, but you never saw Prince, George Michael, Whitney Houston. You never saw any of these huge artists come through.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I think it's because whatever our markets, like, there's like A markets or whatever, and we don't fall into that category. We still don't get a lot of those artists, but we had to rely on seeing any of those kind of performances on television in some way.
Yeah.
Whether it's Johnny Carson or Ed Sullivan or whatever, the performance aspect I think has been there all along. You think about the Jackson 5 and even way back in the 50s and 60s, everybody all the way back, like there's always been a performance aspect. But as far as seeing that live here, we don't get it. So when MTV came out and then they're doing music videos that's actually concert footage, that kind of satisfied us for a bit, as far as like, oh, well, I don't get to see them live, but I can see what they look like live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then you can be inspired by that, right? Like, I'm not in a Jackson 5 type band. I'm not spinning around and we're all standing in a line together. But like you can look at a band that's similar to yours, maybe it's In Excess or Madonna or, whoever, current, depending on what kind of music you're doing, and to see like, how do these musicians, how does Prince perform? How does Sarah McLachlan perform? How does Alanis Morissette perform?
Yeah.
How does Pearl Jam perform? And Pink Floyd, the Eagles.
Well, here's one thing that I'm not really aware of other bands doing this. or hearing about other bands doing it, but we used to do it a lot when in the early days. Is we would film every performance, right? That would be videoed some way, and then we would have, because when Alf was on here, we talked about that.
Yeah,
we would nitpick apart our performance. Yeah. We would really analyze everything to see what could be better, what that was working, that's not working.
Well, Kiss talks about that in one of their documentaries. I think it was called Kisstory, and he was saying how they thought they were doing all these big, huge, they were like, oh, we're going to put our arms up or we're going to do this or whatever. And then they videotaped themselves doing it. And it was like, well, that didn't have the effect we thought it would. And they realized they put their arm up, but their arm was slightly bent. And their arm needed to be fully extended up, and like right? Not just like straight up, but like almost like you have to reach. And, you know, I guess that's part of like stage work as well. Like, actors would know all these kind of things. Like you don't make subtle everything has to be big and dramatic so that it can be seen out in the audience and just has the proper effect. But
so I mean, James brings up more good. So Jeff as well. Jeff said I learned young that looks in entertainment was pretty important. Yeah. And then James is talking about these hugely famous bands that really didn't move around, but they still had a huge presence, like Pink Floyd, the Eagles, Steely Dan, Doobie Brothers, Willie Nelson, ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Like when you think of
ZZ Top didn't look like they were going out to mow the lawn. They have like this whole look about them with their... So it's like they're creating a vibe with 100%. Their beards and they're spinning guitars. So they were still entertaining in some way, even if it was just to look at them and they were entertaining.
They look like they belong.
When we went and saw Sarah McLachlan at it was the Bank of America time, the arena downtown. First of all, she was super popular at the time. She ended up having to open a second night, but there was something about her, and we always talk about that. There was like this presence that she had, that she
commanded that stage.
Commanded the attention of everybody in that arena and had us all wrapped around her little finger.
Yeah.
And I've never seen somebody be encored so many times. She finally had to say, guys, I don't have anything else to play for you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to the Garth Brooks show that was here at the Boise football stadium. That's been a few years ago now, but Anthony went. And he said, yes, Brian says charisma, so important, right? Anthony's part of an audience of 40-some thousand people. And every time Garth Brooks talked to anybody, Anthony felt like he was talking directly to him. And he was like, Garth Brooks was like the host of the party, and he's making sure the guests are taken care of really well. Like he just had that charisma, like Brian's saying, about what he did and how he did it and how he spoke and how he presented himself, you know, and you know, I think Garth has a bit of a belly now, and he's got his button-up shirt and his jeans and his boots, and
well, his wife's a good cook.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That could be. But I'm just saying that he just has a way of carrying himself that you're going to pay attention to that. Right.
Sure.
And Garth Brooks is not stuck behind an iPad somewhere, and he's not. It doesn't look like he's going to go mow the lawn.
You know, right? I saw a video of. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, I just saw a video of somebody locally, and this person has not only the iPad sticking out of one side of the mic stand, but then the phone sticking out on the other side.
Yeah, so you got these two things. Like, why are you doing that?
I understand. Like if you are using in-ears and your phone controls your in-ears.
But does that have to be clamped to your
No, I mean, you should get all that. Technically, you should have all that dialed in at sound check. And I understand, like, there's always that mysterious, why did things change from sound check to us performing? Well, the room changes. You got people in there or whatever. You get more hyped up and you play louder or whatever. I don't know. And so you might have to make some tweaks, but you should be able to make those tweaks and then put your phone down and move on.
Yeah.
If you're taking some pictures or some video, for promo or whatever, that's cool too. But you still don't need it attached to your mic stand.
Right.
Just put it somewhere.
Yeah. James says, I've seen Garth a couple of times on stage. He's an amazing performer off stage, super quiet and polite. Yeah. I had a couple other things here. Where'd it go? I just had it. How your personality comes through and you're playing, what style of music you play, the environment you're playing in, and what is appropriate for the song. Oh, that's cool. You got to meet him too there, James.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's all like conducive to what the style of music that you're playing. Is it a band thing? Or are you supporting a singer? All of those things are factors in how you're going to present yourself. But I think at minimum, know the material. The music comes first, right? You got to know it.
Yeah.
And especially like my job is to learn the drum parts and play that. And so I'm going to learn that song and have it down. I'm not reading a drum chart.
Right.
On the occasion that I might have to be like doing a quick fill-in or something like that.
Yeah. Then
I'll have my set list, and maybe my set list is spread out between like 3 pieces of paper, and I might just write next to the song title, the tempo, and then I might write like a skeleton of what the drum beat is. Like, this is the main drum beat of the song. I might write GTR, like if the guitar starts the song, or if it's all in, I'll write all in, like we're all in at the top.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for songs where the guitar starts, because that gives me like just a couple seconds to go, oh yeah, that's what the song is, right?
Yeah.
But usually it's just quickly I'm right there. So I don't have this whole charted out.
Right. So thing. So I have a question for the chat.
Yes.
So do you think that, because we're talking about charisma, Brian said charisma.
I think that's a great word.
So is that something that you're born with, or something you can learn and train up on?
Personally, I think that's both.
Okay.
But I would be curious what anybody else would have to weigh in and say.
Curious what your thoughts are, and like what are your ideas on how to achieve stage performance? Like,
yeah.
You don't have to be, maybe you're not a drummer. You don't have to be throwing sticks. But what do you see in an artist that draws your attention, aside from just, for me, I'm drawn to the singer. That's because I'm a singer. So to me, it's like the singer is telling the story. And so I'm listening to the person telling the story. And the rest of the band is like the pictures on the page. But like, a lot of people are drawn to the drummer, especially if the drummer is pretty animated. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, the drummer. Or I remember when we went and saw that twerp band, that they all wore those crazy costumes.
Yeah.
The bass player, for whatever reason, I was like glued to him.
Captain Meouch.
Captain Meouch.
Yeah.
Commander. Maybe
it was Commander Meouch.
He got promoted to Commander, and then they took it back, and he went back to Captain. But yeah, there was something about his presence. He wasn't doing anything. He was just kind of swaying, or not swaying. He was like kind of sidestepping this way, that way, back and forth.
Yeah.
And it was the way he moved, and his playing was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And of course, I have no idea what he really looks like, because he was in a total costume. He looked like a cat. But I was, of all the things I could watch, I did watch the singer, but my eyes kept going back to that bass player. I'm just curious, what is it that what do you guys see that draws your attention? And is that something that you just have? It's just part of you? Or is it something that you learn, or you teach yourself to do?
Yeah. Well, okay. So Michelle is here. Hi, Michelle. She says, I think it's both. Practice makes perfect. I think Michelle, are you referencing like that charisma? Are you born with it, or is that something that you learned? I think that's her answer to that question. I think it's both. Like, you could be born with that, and then you perfect that, or you get taught that. I don't know. I think either way is probably makes sense. At least I feel that way too. James said something I wanted to expand off for a second. He said, interesting. Well, let's just put it up. I like putting comments up. Interesting that you mentioned that you often spin sticks in the studio. You obviously have created a comfortable memorized motion that the space that helps you keep time. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It's just, I've done some of that stuff so long. It just became part of the drum beat. It became part of the groove of that to do those things. I will play live and see video of me doing something, and I'll go, I really like how I played that part. I wish I would have done that in the studio. Because for me, when I play live, sometimes there's like a little switch that flips in my head where I sort of, I don't know if it's my personality or like you become like an actor, right? Like you get into that role of playing live and being the drummer and I don't know, there's like a different energy that takes over when I'm playing, that I want to still have that same energy come through in a recording. And so I just started performing in the studio like I would perform live. Like I'm imagining an audience and listening to this. And then also part of it is like, I don't want to listen to this recording in a few months or a year or whatever and go, man, I really wish I would have done
this. Is so
that.
sterile.
Right?
I
playing it safe in the studio. I don't want to feel like I'm playing safe. I want to play like I'm playing great. I like that inspiration that happens when you're playing live in that moment. Maybe you took a risk or something and it really worked out, like this drum fill or whatever it was, or just the energy of the room at that moment. Maybe the inflection and how Anthony was singing something at that time. Maybe he was singing something more passionately or whatever it was. It just like the whole band just went, whoa, right? And so that's what I want to try to have when I'm in the studio playing is to capture that moment.
There was a local band when I was in high school that when they were live, they were incredible. But they got in the studio, it was so sterile. And I was like, where's the energy that this band has on stage? Like, this doesn't even sound like the same. It's like they hired somebody to play their music for them. It was really strange. Even right down to the singing, it was like, that's not how you do that live. I like the way you do it live. Just record yourselves live.
Yeah.
But
I know that.
Yeah, I think it's important that that's funny you bring that up because we're talking about live performances, but your energy comes through in your recordings too. So if you're just kicking back in the studio and like not putting that energy into it that you put on stage, people are going to feel that, like I did. With that band. So.
Yeah. So that's exactly why, James. Like I've been doing some of this stuff for so long. Like sometimes I just like I try to just immerse myself in the process in the music, right? And I'm playing, and I might hit the snare and let the stick come up, and I'll catch it. I'm like, why am I risking that in a recording session?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
here's that.
I have my own studio, so if we got to do it again, then we got to do it again. I'm like, I'm not up against the clock necessarily in my own space, right? But I just feel like if I play that way and then I hear the recorded session back, I'm like, yeah, okay, in the groove of that. Gary Tackett, my buddy Gary. I was fired from a country artist gig on Sony for playing a white flying V at the CMA Fest about 25 years ago. I thought it would add to the show image. Apparently not. Well, maybe that might go back to what James's comment was about, like if you're the supporting backup band to an artist or whatever.
That's the point. But a flying V for country?
Yeah, see that to me. Now, that guitar may have sounded amazing, and it may have had just the tone that's just from another world. Like there's just something about that. But like from a visual perspective,
That's
like
rock and roll.
when you right. When you think
Uh.
of like the image of what country music might be, it probably doesn't include a flying V.
But did you bedazzle it with rhinestones? Like now that then countrify it a little bit?
Right?
Oh, well,
But that
that's too
doesn't
bad
mean-
that you got fired for that.
Yeah.
That stinks.
But now,
You'd think they would have told you before you walked on stage, dude, you're not playing that.
So it's all like that. Now, I'm sure that Gary could probably expand on that more, but so it's Gary Tackett that did it. But what if it was Garth Brooks that did it? What if it was Garth Brooks' idea to take that very same exact guitar and go out there and play that? The crowd would probably lose their mind, right? Like that was the coolest thing ever. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would probably be the case. Now here's Jeff with stick work and keeping time go hand in hand. Getting in, right?
Oh, jeez.
It took live performance albums energy to really bring Kiss, Peter Frampton, and Cheap Trick to the masses. Yeah. You know, I think Alf Deverone and I were talking about that very thing. Like Kiss seemed to be just cranking out like 2 albums a year or something. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure of the timeline, but it seemed like they were releasing material quickly. But when Kiss Alive and then Kiss Alive 2 came out, those live recordings, that just went to their career, right? It's like, oh, here they are live. And Cheap Trick, as soon as you hear it come on the radio, this crowd cheering, and you hear, I want you to want me, right? You hear that recording, and that has just this amazing energy to that Cheap Trick song. Yeah. Did I lose you, producer?
No.
Oh. You're so quiet.
I was just listening to you.
But yeah, that's an energetic thing. But I really, I think at minimum when you're performing, know that people are watching. I think they tend to watch and then listen. Do you think that's the order? They see something, and if you see something that you're interested in, that you might investigate that further.
Well,
right?
I think when I'm watching something, like sound is king. So if you're watching something and sound is terrible,
yes,
then you're gonna be distracted by that, and like the video is not gonna be so great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and that's sound quality. I'm talking about sound quality. Like if it's a crappy recording, but like if you've got a recording.
Wait, are you talking about recording or just like sound when you see a band live? Or are you talking about both?
I'm talking about if you're watching it like on TV or something like that.
Okay.
First. Then the visual, like when people are mesmerized by the visual, they are a little more forgiving of the sound. But
yeah, people hear with their eyes, right, James?
Yeah. But the sound, like you can only get away with that so much, because once the sound reaches a level of what the heck, like you're distracted by it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, like, I was always in trouble because I wouldn't get my chores done. I'd come home and I'd switch right over to MTV channel 28.
You and the rest of the country.
And I would watch the videos, and at 4:00, that was when the top 20 video countdown would come on, and I had to watch it to the end. I had to know who was number 1 for the day.
Yeah.
And but I was glued. It was that visual. I was glued to that. Like, because I could hear it on the radio. I could easily have just come home and turned the radio on, but I didn't. I turned on the television because I wanted to see the performance. I wanted to see the excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I try to mention this and I get stuck in my own thing, right? But the music has to be great. You have to play well, and you should look good while you're doing it, right? And that doesn't mean, do you have to be throwing drumsticks in the air? No, not necessarily. But I think that you should look how the music sounds. So if you're playing happy music, you should look happy playing happy music. or if you're playing more of a somber song
Yeah.
or something like that.
Marilyn Manson's a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's really theatrical music.
Right. But it's like you don't see him smiling while he's singing the really scary, creepy version of Sweet Dreams.
Right. So he's adopted that character.
Yeah.
Right. He's in character all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say like Prince is in character all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
Now I would say, I think this is an important thing to remember, especially for me. Like, I analyze music differently than the general public, right? The public's out there, they want to have a good time in whatever. Like, I know a few people that have bought tickets to go see Rush, right? They're excited to go see Rush. Then they're going to go see him in a stadium or arena or whatever. And then there's people that are going to go see the local band down the street playing in the bar. And sometimes it's not even about going and seeing the band. They're going to go to their favorite place to have some food and drinks, and there happens to be
what
a
does
band
that have
there.
to do with Rush?
I'm just saying there no matter the situation, like, those musicians should present themselves in a certain way.
Okay.
I feel.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm looking at that from my musician standpoint, where the audience.
So you're the musician, the guy that comes in and stands in the back of the room with your arms folded.
No, I
judging.
I sit.
We're at the age where we sit
now. We sit now. I'm just saying, like, the expectation of the general audience going to go see Rush, they know they're going to see this spectacular thing, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you go down the road to have a burger and a beer, you're going to go have a burger and beer and hang with your friends. You're not necessarily going because some band is playing there. Like, the expectation of the audience
depends
is different than what my expectation of what the band might be because I'm a band guy.
There are bands in town that when you go to watch them, that when you go to the venue, wherever they're playing, McClary's or wherever, your attention is going to be on them because they're entertaining. And then there's going to be, Brandon Tillman with Problematic is a good example.
Yeah.
He's not standing on the stage. He's jumping up on the subwoofer. He's running around. He's very energetic. So I don't really have an option to just, I mean, I do, but I don't like, he's drawing my attention away from whatever might be at the table.
Right.
So, whether it's food or whether it's other people, I want to watch what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's also bands that just play, and I have no problem with paying attention to what's on the table or who I'm there with.
Yeah, I think
they become background music.
That's yeah, exactly. It's like it's a live jukebox, not Jukebox the band. I'm not trying to make that correlation. I'm just saying, like, the canned house music, but maybe it's live because the band's over in the corner and they're doing whatever it is they're doing. There's nothing engaging about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they played fantastic, like if the music was great, but they look like they'd rather be home, doing whatever, washing their hair or whatever. If there's nothing engaging, you're not gonna watch them.
And if they're wearing bad shoes,
man,
James.
I remember James saying last week,
just say it, Fred. It's about the shoes.
I remember
shoes and iPads.
Somewhere in last week's show, James says you can't go an episode without bringing up shoes
or iPads.
And so I was on purpose. Trying not to bring up shoes today, and there James is with the little crumb. He's leading me down the path, right? Just say it. It's about the shoes. Yes, please. Keep your toes covered and make sure that covering looks like it belongs on stage.
Oh my god!
Yeah, if that band in the corner doesn't care about anything, but they have on great shoes, I might pay attention to it. I'll go, oh, look at those shoes! I need a pair of those, right?
I think when we started dating, you owned like maybe 2 pairs of shoes.
No, I had more than that.
No.
Yep.
You had those black, like, combat boot things you wore all the time.
I had those. I had a pair of black Doc Marten boots.
Right.
I had a pair of purple Doc Marten boots.
But you never wore those.
I did sometimes.
Rarely.
I also had a pair of like gold hologram looking.
Yeah, but you got
Doc
those
Martens.
when we were married.
I did?
Yeah. The purple ones you had gotten at was it?
Oh, what was the name of that store?
Retrospect?
Yes, that was a cool little store.
And but I never saw you wear them because you thought they were cool at first. Then you're like, they kind of look like clown shoes.
Jim McCroskey ruined my vibe of the purple Doc Martens because he started calling me Grimace.
Yeah, because they looked like clown shoes.
Grimace from the McDonald's.
And I think they were
group,
just
right?
a little big. They were a little big on you too, if I remember right. They weren't
know.
quite your size, so that made it worse.
So anyway, but they weren't stained with grass.
That's true.
Yes.
But the nice thing about those shiny Docs is you can just wipe them off.
Yeah, and
you can mow in them and perform in them.
I still have I'm not gonna mow in Doc Martens. They're too expensive.
But they wipe off.
Yeah, but I'm still no. The answer is no, their producer.
The lawnmower is like, hey, why are you all dressed up to come out and mow the grass?
Because I want to look good mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
You never know when another musician might see me mowing the lawn. I'm gonna get some really decked out eye protection and some my earmuffs. I can put some like little jewels on them or whatever.
I can just see Eric across the street going, Fred, what the heck are you doing?
I could have my lawn mowing.
Just working
pants.
on my vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope I had a point that I made somewhere in this today.
Oh yeah, we beat it we beat that dead horse.
Well, if it wasn't dead, it is by now, right? I love entertaining. I love playing the drums. I love being on stage. It did start like when I was in high school, like I started the show with it started like from a show off thing. And I was a pretty nerdy guy in high school.
So you needed the attention.
Well, okay.
That's a yes.
First, I did say I did enjoy the attention that brought.
Yeah.
And I kind of got addicted to that in some weird way. And I don't think that's unusual for that to happen to somebody. Not that it just happened to me, but I think when somebody appreciates what you do, especially in the beginning,
it makes you feel good, and it
does make you feel good.
It's encouraging,
and it is encouraging. Yeah, 100%. I used to really struggle for a long time about when somebody would come up to me and they'd say, "Man, I really enjoyed your drumming," or whatever, or they liked a song. I would kind of I didn't know how to respond to that. Until one of my really good guitar player friends who I've toured with in a couple different bands, Terry Sharp, he said, just tell them thank you.
Yeah, it's not hard.
And I was like, well, that's not complicated at all. That's very simple. And so when somebody would say, man, I really like what you're doing, I just go, thank you. And that would be done, right?
Just like Garth
from Wayne and Garth? Yeah. Thank you.
Man, I love you.
Thank you. Right?
That's the end.
We're just going to end it right there. It wasn't. I would sometimes start thinking I would be reflecting in my mind oh, I really screwed this thing up or whatever it was,
but they probably didn't hear the screw up,
right?
Or it didn't matter to them as much as it mattered to you,
right? So just say thank you. It's pretty straight. So once I heard that, I was like, duh, yeah, just say thanks.
Yeah.
And be on your way. And to where over time, those motions and stuff became more refined and had a purpose in when they would happen. And
sure.
How to bring the music to life visually and have that make sense.
Yeah. Okay. We need to wrap this up. So bottom line is people react to even the simplest little things. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a stick click with the person playing next to you, whether it's a little quick stick toss, whether it's holding your arm up and making the rock and roll face.
Right? Yeah.
Whether it's as a singer looking at the people that you're performing to and making eye contact with them and singing to them. It's just some of the simplest little things that help make it more entertaining for the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're trying to, as a musical community, improve the music community here, just do some of the simple things. Besides practicing, obviously you need to practice and get good.
Yeah.
But add a few little things here and there and see how people react. Just pay attention.
Yeah. Well,
it goes a long way.
It does. I think I love that you said, like, in our own music community, if you're there's just some simple things that you could do to help elevate. And then there's just some people that just don't care. They don't want to.
Well,
right?
I think, there's been, I just saw this, we can go back to this again, but we could beat this with like a dead horse, but for the music community here in the Treasure Valley.
Yes.
I just saw another post again, like, oh, people can't make music or can't make money as a live performer. And, some people do.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got it dialed in, but if you want the bars and the people, the patrons, to take you more seriously, to get paid better, you need to give a better product.
Yeah.
So if that means ditching the iPads and memorizing your music and engaging with your audience, do it. Like, don't expect to get paid, like a steak dinner value when you're only providing in and out. Like,
right.
Just, you need to level up.
Well,
so level up with some simple things. See what happens.
This could be a whole nother show, or it's been talked about so many times, but I agree with you. First of all, 100%. In parallel to that, some of those, the in and out level bands think that they're already the steak dinner. So sometimes they have trouble recognizing that.
Videotape yourself.
Yeah.
Set up a camera at the back of the room, or have a friend videotape like 5 songs out of your set, and see how the audience is responding and see what you look like. Just like Kiss did. If they can do it, you can do it too. Yeah. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. There's no excuses. So set something up, watch it, analyze it like it's not you, and say, oh, that right there was really cool.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're pretty boring.
Right? Yeah.
Or we're not playing as well as I thought we did. Oh, that was like, wow, that sped up, that slowed down, whatever. Like, just level up.
Yeah, exactly. And Matt Vanderbilt said, nice analogy, Mary. And Jeff Weeks also, I could not agree more. Level up. I had this thought pop in my head. You just talking about iPads, because I've talked about that for almost 3 years. What did singers do before the iPad? Did they
probably music stands with paper?
Okay, yeah, I guess there's that.
I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I don't recall ever, when I was in high school and we'd go to, obviously I couldn't go to a bar, but we'd go to Brass Lamp Pizza, or we would go to the zoo, which became Bogey's, which I don't know what it's like, a flower shop now or something. Mm-hmm. But I never once saw somebody with a music stand on stage.
Neither did I. And I've toured with a handful of different cover bands. There was never music stands on the stage, or like it wasn't even, it never even came up in conversation, like where somebody would say, I can't learn this. I can't do this. Like, I never was playing with those people who had that issue. It was just like, that's the way it was. You learn the songs and play, right?
Yeah. James says, oftentimes on a local scene, it's original music performers that complain about making money versus cover bands. Familiarity brings in people. And that's true.
Yeah.
But I actually see a lot of local cover bands complaining about it too.
Yeah, I do.
This venue never paid us well. And I'm like, oh, well, they paid me fine. I don't know.
Right. It's I mean, that's like a little side note to that.
I think, and then that discussion that was on, it was like Idaho Musicians Page or something. It was one of these local groups. And even Scott had said, I have never played in this town without getting paid.
Right. And to that point, like to now I don't know if Scott will see this later or not, but I've had these discussions with Scott and other bands. However you're compensated and whoever you're doing business with, it's all related to what you agree upon. Right?
Yeah.
So if you never negotiate anything, you're probably going to get bottom barrel things. If you never level up, see, Brian says level up will be my new catchphrase. If you never level up, if you never show that you're worth more, you're not going to get paid more. It's just not going to happen. And I've been in original bands most of my life. And yes, it can be difficult to make money, especially like James says on a local scene. But once we took Midline like out of Boise and we were traveling, because I did a lot of work booking the band myself. Mary also did a lot of booking with the band. We had contracts.
Yeah.
We negotiated a price, right? A flat fee of whatever that was. And inside of that was also like, because some venues want to take a percentage of your merch sales. So you might be negotiating that.
Yeah.
Like that could be a whole other show, right? But it's like you're negotiating what you're getting paid, what your accommodations are. If you got meals covered, whatever that might be, that it seemed like it was easier for us to do that outside of our local scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's maybe
almost like a stigma with like, well, you can't be any good because you're from Boise.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely experienced that.
But then, and you could experience that even taking your Boise band outside. But yeah, I think when they don't know who you are, then they're like, and you're really good, then there's that pleasant surprise of, oh, this band's really good. But yeah, I think, and then like people will maybe, I don't want to say make the mistake of, but will agree to playing for the door. Which that can be okay, but you better be working your tail off to make sure there's people coming through that door, or you're not getting paid.
And you better be making sure the person at the door is charging.
And right, and I would say you have your own person there. Yeah. They're doing that, because if your money, if you're counting on that money as your pay, then you better have somebody there making sure that money is coming in. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just robbing the store.
But the biggest point is it is whatever you agreed for it to be. If you didn't agree to anything, don't expect anything.
Right.
And then if you agree to something,
and as a club owner, and you are you going to be able to talk with this about this next week with our friend?
I'm hoping so.
Okay.
Next week,
as a club owner, because he can talk all about that.
Sure.
They have a business to run too, and they don't want to take a loss.
Right.
So if they're having to shell out $600 to pay this band, but nobody came, or there's 10 people out there, and then they didn't even buy drinks or order food or anything, then he's out $600.
Right.
So you have to like make it desirable for the club owner to have you as well.
Yeah. The venue is in the business of making money. Are you in a band that is in the business of making money? Because if you're not, like if you don't care about that, that's like a whole different thing. And there was a thing that was brought up in the last few weeks of like people who agree to play for low dough are like ruining it for those who are like
across the board.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different like viewpoints of this and aspects and how it relates to each individual person's situation.
And it doesn't just apply to music either. It could be your lawn mowing services. It could be you're a plumber or whatever. Like if you're undercharging, and actually when I worked at Micron, one of our biggest competitors was in Korea. And they were dumping chips.
Yeah.
And so Steve Appleton was constantly fighting with the government, trying to deal with this dumping thing. And so dumping, if you don't know, is they're selling their product for less than it costs to make it. So if it costs $2 to make this chip and they're selling it for $1, $1.50, then that is actually dumping, and it's supposed to be illegal.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to prove that they're dumping. But yeah, you're like, don't cheapen the market by charging less than what the market should be paying.
Right. What the market can bear.
Well, not even what the market can bear, because that's more of at the upper end. But if you're, if a band should be making, let's say $1,000 a night, like let's say a 4-piece band should be making, I'm just throwing this number out, $1,000 a night for a 3-hour gig, and you got 4-piece members, right?
Mhm.
So why, like, if that's kind of the going rate, why would you want to come in and say, well, we'll only charge $600, or we'll only charge $500
or $200, whatever it is?
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, when you could be making $1,000. Like, don't do, and you're not supposed to go around and ask, well, how much does your band get paid, or how much do you pay that band, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad taste too. But you got to have like some like common sense. Like, if you're only getting paid $50 to play for 3 hours, for yourself, like, $200 for the band, that's insane.
Well, on the other side of the fence of that is that we're getting way far away with the art of entertainment, but I want to put a.
But it's the result of
Yes.
the art of entertainment.
Yes,
if you're bringing Burger King to, I don't know, what's some fancy place downtown? I don't even know. I don't get to go to Chandler's.
So yeah, Chandler's is a good example.
Like, you can't come in with a Burger King talent or a Burger King show,
Mhm.
and expect to be paid Chandler wages.
Right. But what I was going to say is, like, if you're used to not making money, and then somebody says, well, I'll give you $50 to be here for 3 hours and play,
And
which
pizza.
is actually longer, right? Because you have your setup and tear down time, and you got time getting there. So, I mean, you could be like 6 hours of time devoted to that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm going to get $50 this time, and they're going to feed me. Like, that sounds like a good deal. But the other person that's done it longer, or who has some kind of business savvy,
Yeah.
that same person is getting paid $250, $300, $400 maybe for the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
this isn't fun.
you got to level up in a lot of different
Yeah,
ways.
Yep.
Right?
So Jim Reidenbaugh said,
Yes.
I saw Aerosmith many years ago. We had backstage passes, which gave us special seating above the stage during their performance. Steven had the lyrics written on the stage floor at different areas of the stage. When he has the mic stand between his legs, he's reading the words. That's hilarious. It's interesting you bring that up, because I've been seeing that more, where people have monitors
Mm-hmm.
on the stage, so giant iPads, and I don't know what the purpose is that, because I don't actually see the singer like staring at that. I don't know if it's just to keep people on track. I mean, obviously, if he's got paper, he's looking at words. Maybe, I don't know. At that level, those people, like, the pressure is so high to not screw up that, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have, I can't imagine he doesn't have the confidence to remember the words, that maybe there's something going on we don't know about. But yeah, I do find that interesting. I've been seeing, you'll see camera angles where there's like some monitor on the stage, but the singer's moving all around, they're not standing there looking at it. So,
and I'd be curious, like, I doubt, like, maybe there were certain songs that Aerosmith had that now Jim, I'd be interested, because I'm going to see Jim later this afternoon. But if that can't be every song with the lyrics on the stage, but maybe there's certain
maybe there's some songs that they don't play.
Jim
often.
says heroin doesn't help with word retention. That could be too.
Okay. All right. We're just going to put out a blanket assumption that people have a clear mind.
Right.
They don't have any brain damage from drug use or alcohol.
Well, I know
use.
I really like the stuff that I'm for sure about, or stuff that I've had had a direct experience with. And so with like Midline, if we had a new song we were playing, like pretty new, Anthony might have next to his set list a few primer words on that piece of paper. Like
sometimes if you remember that first word,
like he just needs one word, right, to be like, boom, I got it.
Yeah.
But he's not like staring down at the floor trying.
Yeah, it's just a quick peek and then you move on. Yeah. James says sometimes the monitor is a safety net. Oh, I totally get that. And in my experience, when I've forgotten the words, it happens so fast that occasionally it'll be like, oh crap, how does the second verse start? And then I'm panicking and I'm trying to think, and it's like, oh, if I only had the words to look at. And so it's like watching the computer buffer, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
And it comes up, and sometimes I remember last second and I just trust my muscle memory. And then, or sometimes I'm literally singing and I don't even know what's going to happen, and the words are gone. And in those instances, well, in that particular case, I don't even have, if I had an iPad or a monitor or paper with words on I wouldn't even have time. It would have come and gone so fast that I wouldn't even have time to look to see where is that on the thing. But there's been a couple times where I'm like, oh, if only I had, but it happens so quickly. And a lot of times the audience doesn't even realize it, or I look over at Adam and he can tell. I might have a look on my face that he's like, uh-oh. And he'll start singing the words. And I do the same thing for him. Like, we'll sing off mic and then get back on track.
Well, here's we need to wrap this up though in a couple of minutes. But one thing for sure, because I just my experience playing with Anthony, my experience playing with Cliff, like you're going to be good at what you're practiced in, right?
Yeah.
And I know that Anthony and Cliff both put a lot of time into knowing the songs.
Yeah.
And not just only, and you're this way too, Mary, where you put a lot of time into knowing your part. But in addition to that, which I believe that you're good at this, so is Cliff and so is Anthony, is that all three of you know what the other parts of the song are supposed to be, or the other instrumentation, or the other words that are happening. Like for you with Casio Dreams, not only do you know what your part is, you know what Adam's part is, and you know what the guitar part and keyboard part and bass and drums, you're aware of what like everybody what they're supposed to do. And I would say like I know this about Jeff Poole, is that he also knows like what everybody in the band's supposed to be playing, right?
Yep.
So I know Jeff for a fact puts a lot of time and effort into knowing that stuff. And I think everybody in the band does that.
Yeah. But he prepares all the music. So the guys obviously they learn the songs on their own, but Jeff creates the charts for it. And then when we have horns, he literally has all the horn parts. Like he'll have a melody line if there's a guitar solo or whatever, like he has these rhythm charts, and so it'll just follow along, like here's the chord or whatever. But then there might be like, in the intro there's a melody that the guitar plays or the keyboard plays, and he'll have that written out. But then and that's just to help them learn it.
Yeah.
But they're not looking at that on stage. The horn players, because they don't play with us, the two horn players, they don't play with us very often, maybe 3-4 times a year. So, and sometimes they're playing new songs. So they have their music in front of them, so they play it right. So Jeff knows those songs.
Yeah.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
Everybody's parts.
But here's like, so Brian is, so Jeff says, yes, primer words. And Brian, lots of singers from Jagger to Ozzy have been using video monitors for lyrics for a while. I think Axl was using them too. I think it may be a crutch for some veteran performers. Yeah, well, and some even like you got younger performers like Lady Gaga. I've seen her with. She doesn't have like the music stand thing up on her piano, but sometimes I'll see papers across the top, and my guess is, she's still perfecting it.
but she's performing it. Or maybe it's just, I don't know. And maybe some people have trouble remembering what key was this in.
Yeah.
Because we used to play it in A and now we're playing it in G.
I don't want to necessarily want to say like those big successful acts like what Brian's talking about, like Mick Jagger and Ozzy, like they get a pass because of who they are.
But you don't see them staring at them. They're not standing in front of this monitor.
They're not
the whole
staring
night.
at it. This isn't on their music stand, and you don't see them swiping, right?
Yeah.
That's not happening. But those bands, well, first of all, like he said, veteran. So I guess you could say they're older, right? Man, I would love to be in my 70s and still just killing it, like those guys are, or however old they are.
Fred's 90 years old, still playing on stage.
Yeah, man.
It's like the drummer in The Wedding Singer.
Yeah. If I'm 90 some years old and I'm performing, my mouth might be agape. Here you go. Just sit here. Okay.
Just don't let your teeth fall out.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
but I they might be there just to have that word that they need to Brian says, yes, I was being nice using veteran for old dudes. Yep.
They're stricken with years.
They're stricken with years. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I mean, this conversation could keep going in a lot of different directions just because we're thinking of like situational things that pop up, right? And then I appreciate everybody weighing in too, like their experiences, like seeing the veteran musicians doing some of this stuff as well.
Yeah. There's a difference between them and what we're seeing on a local level.
Where
they already know their songs. They're just, it's like James says, it's a crutch it's like a safety net. Mm-hmm. It's in case the buffering isn't going fast enough. And what is the next? Oh, there it is. Okay. Boom, move on.
Yeah. But I think technology is a wonderful thing and can be used to your advantage. But when it's, James had made a video recently about AI and bringing up Rick Beato, but I don't want to go down this rabbit trail too far, but I'm just saying like AI can help in a lot of different ways with things, but when it becomes the thing where you don't have to have any dedication to what you're doing anymore, or you don't have to think for yourself, that's a problem, right? Like, I don't have to memorize lyrics because this thing is just in front of me, so I could just show up and do. To me, that's the karaoke thing, right?
If you're aging, keep your mind sharp by memorizing stuff.
Yeah. And I think
it's hard. It's hard. Like when I have to learn something new, like even just with this T-shirt stuff that I've been doing, I had to learn something new, and it was like painful.
Right.
I'm like, this is my brain is tired.
Yeah.
And when you actually can feel that, like that brain fatigue, like that you're doing something to keep it working the way it should. Yeah. And I think something is I say it's simple, but I spend a lot of time memorizing lyrics, and I still worry every time I play a gig that I'm going to forget my lyrics. And you can attest to this. I will practice those songs or listen to them. Like I'll even mouth them if I'm on vocal rest. Yeah. I will mouth them so that my muscle memory is still there.
Yeah.
So I don't forget them. And if there's a song that I skipped thinking, I know that one, and then I get to the gig and I'm like, oh great, I didn't practice that one. Now I'm going to forget it. Like, it's just keep your mind sharp. Memorize.
So I think Jeff Weeks just summarized like what I was trying to articulate was imagination and critical thinking is that risk. That's with AI.
True. Yeah, they're saying that with like the kids that are using AI for schoolwork and stuff.
Right.
They're like, you're relying on well, like you could take an art, let's say art, not even just music, but because like you can do it with music, you can do it with videos, whatever. But like if you just like, oh, I need an image of this and doing this and this cartoon character and it's doing this and blah blah blah, you can tell the AI to create that. And now you haven't, while you came up with the idea of it, you didn't create the talent. You don't have the talent to put it together. And I think for some people, if they're in a hurry to accomplish something, then that is a helpful tool. You still have the creativity of creating it, but you've got kids that are they're using it for schoolwork, and they actually have these AI, like, not generators, I don't remember what they're called. The teachers run them through 3 different AI detectors,
right? Yeah,
to see if their essays or whatever they did are just copied from AI.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Ian got in trouble not in trouble, but like he got an F on something last year that he swears he typed up. But the teacher says it failed the AI detector.
Right.
And so he had to retake the dang class. And he goes, I literally was writing down stuff I learned in 5th grade. It was like an oceans class or something. He's like, I learned all this stuff about the weather back then, and I was just typing that up, and it's for some reason thinking I used AI.
Well, I mean, we're entering the age of get off my lawn, right? Because of the way things were done when we were young. And when we were young in school, you would get in trouble, or you would try to sneak in using a calculator in math. They wanted you to just do it from here, right? Or to show your work, like to think that through, to where when our kids got into school, we were buying calculators for them to take to class, right? They had to have a whatever it was. So the art of entertainment could be also related to the art of caring about your craft well enough to be good at it.
Yeah.
Right? To have some kind of there's a word I'm looking for, I can't think of, but I don't know, just the discipline and the desire, integrity to be better at what you do, like from a personal level and what you bring to the table, and then just surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded in that. I get this cool benefit of being a drum teacher with some of my students who are working musicians around town, and who become better drummers, and we talk about band business quite a bit, or I'll share with them stories of like what I feel is important, and then they're inspired to try to make their band better. And so in just maybe some small little way, there is some of that improvement stuff happening, because they get inspired to do that. Like I just had one of my students audition for a band, and he got the gig. But we talked about the whole audition process and what was important in all of that. It was just really cool. It's fun to be a part of that. So, but yeah, the art of entertaining, just look like you belong there, and play like you belong there, and look like you're having fun. Is there anything else to add to that?
Performance integrity.
Yeah. Level up. That's the new battle cry, right? Who said they were going to use that? Was that Brian? Brian. Somebody said it. Brian said, yes. Brian said, level up will be my new catchphrase. Love it.
Okay, we better wrap this up.
We got to wrap it up. All right, thanks for hanging out. Next week, we're going to have this really cool guest here. His name is Ken Harris.
Has he committed?
Yes, he has.
Oh, okay.
He sent me the pictures to put together for promo.
That's right. Okay.
So Ken Harris is a legend in the Treasure Valley, in the music scene. Later, Matt, he is just an incredible person to hang out with. He's been over here many times while Mary's been doing some video production work for him. And he's a character, and I'm really looking forward to and
former club owner. So it's going to be really great to ask some of these questions about what a club owner wants from their entertainment, right? Yeah. And how clubs are run that we don't see from
that
our perspective.
Exactly. So that'll be happening next week on November 4th, I think is the date. Yes.
Next Tuesday.
And quick reminder for those who are still hanging on to the very end with me, Friday on Drummers Education Connection at 11 a.m. Pacific time, I will be on the show with Chip Ritter and Bart Robley, and Chip is going to be doing his
on Halloween.
On Halloween,
okay.
Yep. It's going to have the drawing for the trick drum, the Peisty cymbal, the Drumeo package, the Aquarian drum heads package, all of that. Brian says, great show, guys. Most fun you can have before 9 a.m. Pacific. Bro, you are welcome. Thanks for hanging, man. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye.